Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be sewing up the winter wrap scarf. This is a quick and easy sew. I think you're going to love it. Let's get started. The first thing I'm going to tell you is, well, the first two things I'm going to tell you is that this scarf we're going to make, we're going to do a French seam along the seam. That way you can wear it different ways and the seam is enclosed in itself. That's what the French seam does. So you don't have to see like the raw edge. Another thing, point number two, is that we actually sew up this scarf and you have the option to leave the hem raw or you can hem it. Now, because you can see the back and the front of the hem, you can hem it however you want to. It's recommended like a rolled hem would be a good thing to do. Maybe on your serger, you could do like a serge edge with like a skinny serge. I'm going to leave mine raw. I use the rotary cutter, which makes a really nice, even cut. So I'm going to leave the raw edge cut. Being that it's a knit fabric, it's not going to fray on me, so we can do that. If you were using a woven fabric, which this pattern is not really intended for, but if you were to use a woven fabric for a project, a sewing project, you can't really leave woven fabric raw because it frays, but with knit you can, which is great. So let's get started with the French seam. All right, first we're going to grab our fabric, and usually we always face our fabrics when we're sewing, we face them right sides together, unless you're going to do both seams like I did on this sweater here. But this time for French seams, we're going to put our fabrics wrong sides together first. So I'm going to match up that back seam of my scarf, and we're going to place it wrong sides together. As you can see, this is the wrong side of the fabric, this is the right side of the fabric, and we're putting the fabrics wrong sides together. Now, depending on what fabric you're using, depends what kind of stitch you're going to use. This is a knit fabric, so you either have to use a stretch stitch on your sewing machine, or you can use a longer straight stitch because it's not really going to be pulled really tight. If you have something that's going to be pulled, you need to make sure that's going to give. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sew that with a stretch stitch. Next step is to go to the seam, push it towards one side and give it a good steam. Once it's steamed really nicely, I'm going to fold it right sides together. And I'm going to give it a second steam to make sure that that seam is right there. You can kind of see the seam in there. Okay, now I'm going to head back to my sewing machine and top stitch along the edge, making sure you're encasing that seam allowance in there. Next step is to open up that seam right there, and we're going to steam it again towards one side. And now we're going to go ahead and top stitch it down. And just like that, we are done with that French seam. You cannot see it from this side. It's just top stitched down, and then it looks nice and neat from the back as well as stitched down. So that makes a really nice seam right there. Okay, so now we're going to close up the sleeve portion of the scarf. So we're going to grab both ends. So this is the one end, and we're going to match it right sides together here at the end. And I'm going to measure 9.5 inches. This ruler happens to be 9.5 inches long, and I'm going to sew it up right sides together. I'm going to continue on my sewing machine, and I'm going to do a stretch stitch on my sewing machine. You can do it on your sewing machine, you can do it on your serger, however you feel like you want to do that stretch stim there. After I do that stretch stitch, after I do that stitch here, I'm going to go ahead and put in a basting stitch at the bottom of the sleeve here, where I'm going to gather it to fit my cuff, which leads me to the next step, which will be making our cuff. I'm doing the tall cuff. Make sure that when you're doing your cuff, you measure it around your wrist and it is the size that you want it to be. I'm wearing a sweater, so that's why it looks like it might not be, but it is. And I like my cuffs to be a little bit, like fitted, so I don't want it to be super big. So this is good for me, but make sure that you're doing that because depending on how much stretch your fabric has, you might want it tighter or looser. I'm going to fold that cuff right sides together along the long edge, and then I'm going to sew them together, and I'm going to do that for both. Hey, make sure that when you're doing your sleeve here, you do them both on the same. Don't get it twisted. Don't forget to put in your basting stitch. I'm just doing a long straight stitch around that cuff area. I mean, around that sleeve area. All right, so we're almost done with this scarf. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is here at the sleeve, actually we're gonna grab our cuff and we're gonna fold it wrong sides together. And if you want to, you can mark your half of your cuff. And what you're going to do is you're gonna gather this basting stitch to be as small as the cuff. So I'm gonna pull on my bobbin thread. Okay, and once you gather it, we're gonna go ahead and fit that cuff in there and sew it on. So we're matching right sides together, the cuff to the sleeve. Make sure those gathers are evenly placed. And I like to match my seams, so I put seam to seam, though you can't really see the seam here because my fabric is, it matches my thread, so you can't really see it very much. And we're gonna do that for both cuffs. All right, let's go sew that up, and then I'm going to put it on, show you how we put it on, and show you how cute it turned out. I like to sew with the gathers face up, so that way I can see that my gathers are going on evenly and nicely. All right, friends, we are done with this scarf. It was so quick and easy to sew, and now I'm going to show you how I put it on. So here's the right side out, and what I'm going to do first is I'm going to fit my arm through the one loop here, and then I'm going to drape this across my shoulder like so. And then I'm going to bring it right over to the other side. Let's come right around my shoulder. Okay, and then I'm going to fit this sleeve on my other arm and make sure it's even and wrapped up nicely. And there it is. Super cute. Now there's another way you can drape it as well, and I'm going to show you that way as well. So you can grab it and put it on like a scarf, making sure that seam, that back seam is in the back. Where is that back? Okay. I like to make sure that back seam is right in the center. Okay, and it's kind of over your shoulders like so. Then I'm gonna grab the sleeves and I'm gonna crisscross them. So one sleeve is gonna go, they're gonna go the opposite sides like so. So this is gonna go here, and then this sleeve is gonna go here. Okay, and then you can do a little bit of draping, however you want to drape it. And there it is. So easy and quick. I think this would make a great gift. I think it's super cute. Now, there's another way to style it. Backwards. And you let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite way of wrapping the scarf. So now I'm going to place that seam on the actual front, okay, and I'm going to drape it over my shoulders. So I'm just draping it right over my shoulders here, and then on the back I'm going to crisscross them and just fit my arms in the opposite side sleeve. That's it. I think it looks super cute both ways. Comment below and let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Go grab your pattern, come back and sew it up with me. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.